Chapter 1. The Slot Machine in Your Pocket. A few years ago, a former design ethicist at Google named Tristan Harris sat down and did something that almost nobody in Silicon Valley had ever done publicly. He drew back the curtain on exactly how the products he helped build were designed, not to help you, not to connect you or make your life easier, but to keep you looking. He described how every notification, every infinite scroll, every autoplay was engineered using the same psychological principles as a slot machine. Variable reward, unpredictable timing, the exact mechanism that makes gambling so hard to walk away from. Except this slot machine is in your pocket, and you were pulling the lever hundreds of times a day, and nobody had told you that was what you were doing. What struck me most about what Harris said wasn't the technology, it was the economics underneath it. Every single platform competing for your time is running on the same business model. Your attention is the product, and is sold to the highest bidder. The longer you look, the more they earn. Your focus, the thing that determines what you learn, who you become, what you build, what you experience, is the raw material of someone else's revenue stream. And it's the scariest part that the people who designed these systems are some of the most intelligent engineers on Earth, and their entire job was to make sure that you couldn't look away. You are not losing your attention because you lack discipline. Your attention is being stolen by the systems specifically engineered to take it. Chapter 2. What your attention actually is. Oliver Burkeman wrote a line in 4,000 Weeks that I haven't stopped thinking about since I've read it. He said, when you pay attention to something you don't especially value, it's not an exaggeration to say you're paying with your life. Now read that again. Your attention is not a renewable resource that resets every morning. It is a finite allocation of the one thing that you can never get back: time. Every hour you spend in a distracted loop is an hour that didn't go towards the relationship, the work, the experience, or the version of yourself that actually matters to you. You are not wasting time when you scroll mindlessly. You are spending your life on something you didn't choose. Joe and Harry spent the 3 years researching why our ability to focus is collapsing and found something that reframes the whole conversation. In the United States, teenagers can focus on a single task for an average of 56 seconds. Office workers average 3 minutes. This is not a generational weakness or personal failing. It is the predictable result of an environment specifically engineered to interrupt you, because every interruption is a monetizable moment. The crisis of attention is not accidental. It was built. Chapter 3. The Deep Work Advantage. Cal Newport spent years studying what separates people who produce genuinely remarkable work from people who stay perpetually busy without moving forward. His conclusion? The ability to focus deeply, to give your full, uninterrupted attention to a cognitively demanding task, is becoming simultaneously rarer and more valuable. He calls it deep work. And in a world where the average person can sustain focus for 3 minutes before being pulled away, the person who can focus for 3 hours has a compounding advantage that only grows over time. Not because they're most talented, but because they're directing their most valuable resource, their attention, towards the things that actually move the needle, while everyone else is triaging notifications. The practical move Newport recommends is schedule deep work like an appointment that cannot be moved. Not, I'll focus when I get a chance. A specific block. Same time every day where the phone is out of reach, the browser is closed, and your full attention belongs to the one thing that matters most. Start with 60 minutes. The first few sessions will feel uncomfortable. That discomfort is the attention muscle being worked for the first time in a while. It gets easier, and the output from even one focused hour will exceed what most people produce in a distracted day. Chapter 4. Rethink the relationship, not just the usage. Here's where most advice on this topic falls short. It tells you to use your phone less, set a screen time limit, take a digital detox weekend, and then Monday comes and everything goes back to the way it was, because the underlying relationship hasn't changed. Newport's argument in Digital Minimalism is new fundamental. Stop asking how to use these tools less, and start asking whether they deserve to be in your life at all, based on your actual values. The question isn't, am I using Instagram too much? The question is, does Instagram serve anything I genuinely care about? And if so, is it the best way to serve that thing? Mess steps fail this test completely. They offer a watered-down version of something, connection, information, or entertainment, while extracting a disproportionate amount of the thing that they never mention in the value exchange: your attention, your time, your mental bandwidth. The exercise? Write down 5 things that matter most to you right now in life. Then look at your screen time report. Ask honestly whether how you're spending your attention reflects those 5 things. For most people, the gap between those 2 lists is enormous. That gap is your attention being spent on something else, someone else's priorities, instead of your own. Chapter 5. What you pay attention to is what you become. There is a deeper reason this matters that goes beyond productivity. What you consistently direct your attention towards shapes your thinking, your values, your relationships, and ultimately your identity. You become what you repeatedly attend to. A person who spends their attention on genuine learning, deep relationships, and meaningful work becomes a particularly kind of person. A person who spends their attention in reactive loops of notifications, outrage, and comparison becomes a different kind of person. Not because of a single day or a single session, but because attention, directed consistently over months and years, is the primary input into what you are. Harry's most powerful insight isn't about productivity. It's that when your attention is fragmented and hijacked, you lose access to the deeper modes of thinking, the reflection, the creativity, the genuine connection that makes life feel meaningful. A distracted life is not just a less productive life, it's a shallower one. Chapter 6. Take it back. 3 things dying today. First, create 1 daily block of deep work, 60 minutes minimum. Phone in another room, notifications off. 1 task, non-negotiable. Treat it the way you treat a meeting with someone you can't cancel on. Second, do the values ordered. 5 things that matter most to you. Screen time report, find the gap. Then delete 1 app, just 1, that is consuming your attention without serving anything on that list. Third, read Stolen Focus by Johann Hari, or watch Tristan Harris's TED Talk before the end of this week. Not because your information will change your habits on its own, but because understanding that your attention is being systematically extracted by engineered systems changes the way you relate to those systems. You stop blaming yourself for distraction, and you start treating your attention the way it deserves to be treated, as the most finite, most valuable, most consequential resource you own. Where your attention goes, your life follows. So start choosing where it goes.